Women's Power to Heal Mother Earth. This is Maya Tiwari. The episode today is about gratitude. The word gratitude is derived from the Latin word gratia, which means grace, graciousness, gratefulness, and kindness. In some ways, the word gratitude encompasses all of these meanings. It is the thankful appreciation for what we as individuals receive. With gratitude, we acknowledge the goodness in each other's lives. And in the process, we recognize that the source of goodness lies, at least partially, within ourselves. Gratitude helps people to connect to each other and to the greater universe. It helps us to harvest a higher power of understanding even when we feel challenged or defeated. Gratitude has emerged in my life in many ways. It has helped me to serve, to love, to care for, and to give of myself to those who are in need. But gratitude is difficult to remember when we are feeling challenged, deceived, betrayed, or otherwise put upon. It is even more difficult to remember if we feel that we have no support or in a state of perilous disease. It's taken me a lifetime to learn what I know about the nature and character of gratitude and how it can manifest and come alive within me regardless of the circumstances that surround me. I have discovered through long years of walking the fire and through the last decade of being pelted into the abyss of so much darkness, that without the essence and feeling and remembrance of gratitude, we live a very barren life. We could spend millions of lives fascinated by the uniqueness in our universe within us and what compels us to be who we are. And yet, something so simple as a feeling of thankfulness and gratefulness and graciousness under any circumstance, especially circumstances that are adverse and toxic and destructive and dangerous. Those circumstances require that we bring forth this attitude of gratitude more than any other circumstance. It is so much easier for us to be thankful for the things that we love, grateful for the people that are supportive of us, grateful for things that are given to us, the gifts of life, grateful to be able to be healthy and enjoy the sunlight in our lives. But it is ever more difficult and ever more necessary to be grateful for the things that challenge us, the people that deceive us, the circumstances that are toxic, and the evil of destruction that may have been foisted in our lives, around our lives, upon our lives. But this is the area and time and terrain in which gratitude becomes the gift. Not just the passing social well-wishing, but in fact something so deep, something so carnal, so endemic to the very pure nature of our own humanity that lies within each one of us. It is, in fact, the saving grace. The grace that can catapult us out of the deepest abyss of despair. It is a grace that I am living. It is the grace that I have discovered. It is the grace that came at perhaps the most expensive price and dues that I have had to pay in my life. At every turn of my path in this journey, I have been humbled by immense challenges. Obviously, what shines inside of me became the flame that rised the demons inside of so many in so many areas and terrain that I have lived in. We are told when we bear angst and despair, disappointment, and the feeling of hopelessness, that we are to let go of that which we can't control. But it is very difficult in the human organism, in the way that we have been divinely configured. It is near impossible to let go of anything without first understanding it. At least understanding the premise of truth that is at the very core of our issues. So I shan't ask you to do what I could not do, and that is to let go prematurely of pain and angst, despair. But I can ask you to let go of the attachment to these things and these emotions. And that's what gratitude helps us to do. It helps us to become whole, to remember that the becoming is simply an illusion, that we are already whole. And when we're feeling lost, it is because we are struggling to know a deeper truth, a core truth, a cardinal truth that exists in our situation. And I, for one, would advise that we strive to discover what is beyond and beneath. But the rub here is that we do not become attached. Because in attachment, there is no gratitude. There is no remembrance of gratitude. There is no remembrance of kindness to the self or to anything else. There simply is an attachment, an obsession. And that is the other side of the coin of discovery. So when we are discovering what it is that we must learn in order to learn these lessons that are presented to us, let us remember that to not be obsessive, to search for the truth and strive for it, but to keep practices that keep gratitude alive, well within our reach at every turn that we may take. And what I mean by this, what are the practices that keep gratitude alive? Regardless of the angst, the pain, the suffering, and what we're being inundated by. And I do know so much about being inundated by the toxicity of others that are foisted upon me for a full decade with masterful precision. Let me assure you that even in this dire situation, we have the power to sit in the sunlight. We have the power to listen to the wind breezing through the branches, the crackling of the twigs under the winter's snow, the sound of the deer meekly making its way through the underbrush. We have the power to see the glistening light as it floods the stream and rises in an array of diamonds to meet our eyes. These powers could never be taken away from us. The power to sit, to remember to pray, to contemplate if not meditate, to simply be, to allow the angst, to allow the deeper feelings within us to settle as we sit without any intention, without trying, without effort, as we simply retreat not behind the walls of tyranny and fear and the desperate traumas that all of humanity suffers, but to retreat within an infinite space that lies within us, if only we remember to stretch it to the very breath, the boundaryless spaciousness of the inner self that usually become constricted with fear, despair, illness, angst, obsession. There is such a thing as becoming a victim. There are such people as perpetrators of evil, of ill-doing, of destructive forces, propelled by their own unfortunate selves and their karmas and destinies. They're those who are propelled by light into their own karmas and destinies. But regardless of who is doing what to whom and what is happening in our lives, it is so critical that we can refurbish that inner space by simply acknowledging the limitlessness, the infinity of it all. It is only the mind that appears to constrict it. But once we allay a certain power to the mind, once we just simply say, I will just sit and be, the whole of Akasha, space, the whole of Mother Nature is here to hold me and support me. And so I will widen that space. I will widen it beyond limitations. so that I can once again breathe and reflect, or simply just be. And that is what gratitude is all about. It brings the greatest calm, the greatest relief, the greatest way that we can endeavor to be with ourselves in a space of loving kindness, in a space of simply being. And yes, we must accept that which is happening. Let us just say it is karma, tangible and intangible, that mostly, if it has caused us so much pain and so much trauma, then it is still something that we are yet to discover, but you will discover it. I will discover what is behind mine. And when we adopt this point of view, we understand that there is nothing in life that exists in isolation, that we are part of the grand schema of love, that we are intricately a part of that love, and that in that love, even the perpetrator of evil and destructive deeds is part of that living essence of our own being. And it is so difficult to keep understanding this truth when we are suffering, when injustices, unfairness, and difficulties are foisted upon us. But please remember that in these times, just to be manifested, just to be born, we would have had to have survived millions of years of trauma, each one of us. So let us be grateful for each other. Let us be kind for all the experiences. Let us at least hold that in kindness. I am trying my very best to do so after a decade of being tortured, really, by incredible events that are deliberately set out to injure and to create harm. But holding angst, holding bitterness, only dries up hope and sacrifices all of the investment that I have made in faith and in the faith of nature around me, in the faith of the divinity that guides me. So I am freeing and have freed myself from the unnecessary responses of angst, and instead I hold dear and dearer every day as my life force wanes, as it normally does as we get older, and it can accelerate through toxic means as well. But I hold my faith dear, not the faith of a religion or the tradition or the auspicious lineage in which I was born, but the faith of all of humanity, the faith that we are here to bless each other, and the faith that we are here to be grateful for everything that happens in our life, whether or not we have yet to learn the lesson, and whether or not we are yet to understand the premise of it all. So gratitude is about creating, or I should say taking back that space which already exists within ourselves to do simple things without the constrictions of the mind, to keep the heart fairly open, not wide open, but fairly open, so that it too can breathe, so that we can breathe, so that we can know that in our love, in our life, in our gratefulness, in our understanding, there is no amity. We are the width and breadth of the infinite. Just to take back some of that space inside of us is about gratitude. And we cannot really forgive anyone or anything without first enduring, understanding this incredible space that we do have within us to keep spaciousness alive. Gratitude is the most perfect conduit to do so. Gratitude for everything, gratitude for anything, gratitude for something. In each and every moment of our day, we can find something to be grateful for. At this very moment, in so much pain and in so much turmoil, I can see and feel the gratitude for the sunlight piercing into my skin. I can feel the gratitude of the winter stillness upon my soul, beckoning it to come to its own peace. I can feel the gratitude for having a very exquisite mother who always cared and continues to do so. I can feel the gratitude for having siblings that are noble and kind and loving and caring. There's always something to be grateful for. Thank you. Thank you for listening, and peace be your journey.